So without further ado, car guys and car gals and all you solutionaries out there, we are excited to get this brew underway. We have the one, the only, Josh Letsis.
What is up, man?
What is up, guys, man? It's hard not to be pumped up after that.
Well, that's what happens when you drink Car Guy coffee.
That's right. It just keeps you really excited, really motivated, and keeps you moving. That's what it does. It really, really fast.
And
right,
your lips get moving quick.
I love it.
No, seriously. Welcome to the cafe, my friend. We are excited to have you here. You are a superhero in my world, man, and I absolutely love what you're doing. You have so many projects going on. You're always doing something to elevate the game, help your store, help the people around you, and help your community. Yes. Which is a big deal. You just got done doing a huge challenge. I loved it. The 4x4 by 48, the David Goggins challenge, and you did it for a great purpose. You did it for the Underground Railroad, man, and I absolutely love that foundation. I'm a big fan of that foundation. Matter of fact, I've donated a lot of money to that because I love where it goes. I love what it does. It's a great message, and people need to be saved out there, and there's a lot of craziness going on in this world, and that's one of the things that needs to be helped with, and it's actually thousands of years that kind of stuff's been going on, and we need to stop that, and it needs to stop as soon as possible. So great cause, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. That was probably the tipping point for me. I wasn't sure I wanted to do the challenge, and of course I get talked into just about anything crazy like that. And then when we presented the charity, it was about 10 of us. We presented the charity we wanted to try and raise money for. And I mean, at that point, how do you say no, right? You can't back out.
Man, especially when you have a why behind it. That why was a huge why, and I appreciate you for doing that for that cause, man. I mean, it's a beautiful cause. That's like one of those causes when it's my birthday. That's on Facebook they put a donation thing. That's who I would put up. And I love that cause. So great job.
That even Rambo got involved in the fight, right? Rambo even came out here to fight human trafficking. For some reason that motivated me inside of the just all of the time that we are in to see that such a cultural series came together, and Rambo's chopping people's heads off and ripping people's hearts out because he's so upset or just so at rage that there's even the idea that you can trap somebody, take their freedom for the perversion of another. And again, it was like I can't believe Rocky's doing that to my kids, that I made them watch that. They never watched any Rambo before, and they're all sitting there like, oh my, what is happening? Don't do that, Rocky. You know what I mean? But it was for the cause, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I appreciate you doing that. Again, you suffered through. Tell us a little bit more about that challenge real quick before we get kicking on this 5-liner. What did you just go through?
Yeah, so David Goggins came up with the challenge, and I don't know how many years ago. It's probably fairly new, but it's called the 4x4 by 48, where you run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours for a total of 48 miles. And it's pretty intense. So obviously you've got the physical aspect of just running, but then you've got the sleep deprivation of, you could go back to wherever you're going and sleep for a couple hours if you can sleep. And, there's some times where right after running, you can't sleep, and you got to figure out, how am I going to get meals in there? Do I want to try and eat something before I run or after I run? Or it was a challenge. And somebody at work asked me, what was the hardest part? I said, honestly, that 1 a.m. and the 5 a.m. on Sunday after you've been running and waking up for about 36 hours was hands down the hardest. It was, 30 degrees outside, and we just did not want to get up. And it took everything I had up here to talk myself into getting back out there. And luckily we were at a track. We went to Columbine High School in Colorado. They were gracious enough to give us a track. So we had at least a, somewhat soft surface, but a flat surface, more important. And there were 10 of us out there, and we were just banging out those miles. It was hard.
No doubt. I know it's not fun to run in circles, but it's much better than running a lot of hills for 4 miles every 4 hours.
I was telling my buddy, he had this little place and a little teeny hill at his house. I went and ran it with him a couple weeks ago, and I said, bro, after mile 3 might not be so bad, but after mile 30, that's going to feel like Mount Everest, man. So he actually came over to the track with us.
That's smart. That was a very smart move, but it's the same effect, and it's exactly the right thing to do. I would have done the same thing. I know I put in a lot of miles in my day, and man, a little incline, a little grade doesn't seem like a lot until you've done it a few times, and then all of a sudden, the last time you run that hill, you're like, oh my goodness, this hill feels like like straight up, like you're going up a flight of stairs, you know, you're like, no way. But no, man, congratulations to you and your team and for everybody who did it and for the cause, man. That's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I looked last night. We were up to about 17 grand. We cut it off today, so it stops today, but we raised about $17,000 so far for Operation Underground Railroad.
That is huge, man.
Yeah.
That is huge. There's big old claps for that right there. Yeah. I mean, huge, man. That's big money. Like, people don't realize it's in the grand scheme of that's gigantic for running for 48 hours. How many people got involved with that with you?
I think there was 10 of us total, and all of us were running. And one guy was actually rucking it, so he had a 30-pound rucksack on, and he was rucking it. I thought that was pretty intense too.
Wow.
Yeah, that's seriously intense.
Dude, that's super intense. You know, I've seen you do some of these other challenges, like the Murphy Challenge and things like that, and you know, you're wearing that weighted vest. That's enough, man. I can't imagine rocking a rucksack and going and doing that 4 hours every 4 miles every 4 hours. Are you kidding me?
But that is a testament again to how your mind can overcome what it is that your body is just not wanting to do. And your body can do incredible things that your mind has to be convinced of, you know, and that is so important that people do find that why. If there's anything we want to make sure that we pull out of people, it's understanding that why. So we're going to get moving on this 5-liner and get inside of that head of yours.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, we got this 5-liner we love to ask everybody. It's 5 questions. And before we do these 5 questions, we always do our Forgive, Focus, Fly. So there's always the first things first. So I want to get you involved in this. It's kind of like a dance, but it's more of a secret handshake to get into the cafe club. All right. Cool. So we're going to do this, man. This Forgive, Focus, Fly is very important. I'm going to have Lou break it down for you.
So the weight of unforgiveness is more weightful than a rucksack trying to march for miles, trying to run for miles. The weight of unforgiveness will stop you in your tracks. It will stop you from being able to fly. And that is a weight that we all choose to carry. If we choose to carry the weight of unforgiveness, we choose to carry our failures or the failures of others and not go anywhere with that weight because we're so committed to the wrongs of others or the fear of our own failures, we can't go anywhere. So what we do is we wipe that off, and then your hands are free, and you got free hands, and then you can focus. Put the blinders on, make sure that you get through that challenge, you get through that race, you get through that challenge at work, you get through that business deal, you get through that hard conversation, and you get focused on what it is that you need to. You get the blinders on, and then at that point, you focus on where it is that you want to fly, and you stretch out, and you use your faith, and you fly, and then you keep growing. Right. So join us as we do this together. Put the hands on the shoulders real quick. We're going to wipe the weight of unforgiveness off. Get ready. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Forgive. Focus. Put your focus right here. Get your focus on right here. There you go. Focus.
And fly.
And then keep growing. Keep growing. Keep growing. Yeah, there we go.
Now you just learned a secret handshake. You were part of the CGC Club, my friend. Thank you.
That's right.
You so much.
Love it.
Right. Man, we're pumped up, man. This 5-liner is amazing, man. We're going to ask you 5 questions. These 5 questions basically talk about how you got to where you're at, what motivates you, you know, who's motivated you, and things like that. So my very first question is the same question I ask everybody, Josh. It's the same exact one. What is your why? What motivates you every day to get up and be the best version of yourself?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of whys, right? But I'd say my biggest one is my wife and my son. You know, I grew up dirt poor, and I want to make sure that I give my son the opportunity to have things and do things that I was never able to do. And there was a lot of worries about just a lot of little things that not having money, you know, will cause some worries to have. And I want to make sure that my wife doesn't have to worry about any of those things. So those are probably my 2 biggest whys.
Your why is right on the money, my friend. Having those 2 things there, your family, your wife, your son, to be able to give them the life that you've never had, to be able to make sure that they never worry. That is a beautiful why.
There's always worries.
Why.
Well, you know, there's always worries in life. I just want to make sure they don't have to worry about the same things I had to worry about as a kid, you know? So, you know, the worries change and they're different. You know, now we're thinking about how do we spend more time together as a family unit, you know, versus, you know, how are we going to eat dinner tonight, you know? So I want them to have different worries.
That's right. And different experiences, right? Different
Yes.
mistakes. If there's anything that I've tried to tell, especially my daughters, it's that, look, I mean, of course, my sons too, but, you speak differently to each, to your sons and to your daughters, and making sure that they understand, listen, I'm not trying to make you never make a mistake. I know you're not going to be perfect. I know you're not going to do that. I just don't want you to make my mistakes. You can take my lessons. You can learn what I've learned and know that there's a more excellent way. There's a better way to do life. And I want to hear about your mistakes. I want to hear about the things that you were brave enough to try and didn't work out, but you learned how to do something new and different and take this to a new level. So you're absolutely right, because we can't remove the obstacles in life. The object is to conquer them, right? We can't move that mountain out of our way. The object is to put it under our feet and then eventually behind us.
We just show them the best path through the mountain, and that's the thing. We find that we've carved that path out. We've been through this. Okay, you can't go past this little, this valley here. You're going to have to walk around this way. We know the quickest way to save people time. And that's what we want to pass on down to our families, to our friends, to our coworkers. We just try to teach them the best version of what this you can do here. Now, it's up to them to go out and do their own thing, but to have that why with your family, it's so monumental for me. Like for me, I wouldn't be where I'm at today without my wife and my son. Period, hands down. I appreciate them. I would be somewhere, but I don't think I'd be at the level or wanting to reach for higher levels without them, because I want to show my son. Like you said, I want to show them a better path. I want to show him that, hey, life isn't just this, and this. It's actually so much more. And it really is. This world is it has everything you want. There is no filter on it. You can literally go as far as you want to go. All you have to do is put your mind to it. And Josh, you're showing people that. And, I hope that I'm showing my family that, and so on and so forth. But you're definitely doing that, brother. You come a long way, man. And I know you know that. And it's a beautiful thing. And it's a lot of fun to watch, man. You got a lot of spunk inside you, and the energy is it's infectious. People want to be around it.
Yes. Now, there's, of course, something that we often ask, because one of the most valuable things about the people that we talk to is understanding why they do what they do, and joining inside of our understanding of that philosophy, that mentality. And we often find out, as many people are driven the same way that you are. I mean, we got out of the clubhouse this morning, and that seemed to turn into the focus for the day of how everybody is trying to get intentional about focusing on their family and seeing the value of that. If there's anything that happened during last year, it's that so many people started to rediscover who they committed to their entire life, right? They started to relearn their kids, relearn their spouse, and relearn themselves. And that's ultimately what we're here to do, as we highlight you and talk about the incredible person that is Josh Letsis. And we want to know, as far as from a car guy perspective, brother, what got you into the car business?
So I was 18 years old, and I was helping a buddy of mine buy a car, and he wasn't the most aggressive person on the planet, and I think he thought I was a little more assertive. And so he said, hey, will you come down with me and help me buy a car? So I went down with him, kind of negotiated the whole deal. It was the typical third baseman. And their sales manager came, after my buddy's in finance, and he goes, hey, I think you'd be good at selling cars. And I'm like, I don't think so. And he talked me into it, basically, sold me this whole dream. And I just said, I'm going to do it for the summer. I'm going to do it for the summer. I'm 18, and, this would be a good summer job. And 3 summers later, I'm still here doing it. And so that's kind of how I got started in the car business.
Wow. That's awesome. So basically, they saw your talent. They're like, man, we can't negotiate past this guy. So maybe he can help us negotiate the other way around. We need to have him on our team instead of against our team. That's the best thing to do. When you have people out there that you are competitors with, join teams with them.
That's right.
Next thing you know, you're blowing up, man. Great stuff, man. 18 years old, you got into business, man.
Yeah.
Did you start in Colorado?
No, actually, I started selling cars in Oregon for 2 or 3 years, and then I moved to Arizona. I was in Arizona about a dozen years or so, and I've been in Colorado 8 or 9 years. If all that adds up to 23 years, and it's about right.
Wow, man, that's a pretty cool story. Oregon, what a beautiful state for one. You've been very fortunate. You've been in some really cool areas to sell cars, like Oregon, and then Arizona. Where in Arizona were you?
Phoenix and Scottsdale. And that's, that's an intense car market down there. That was a shock coming from Oregon for sure.
I can imagine. It has got to be a different place. I was I lived in Arizona from 97 to 2001 when I was in the Air Force. I was stationed in Tucson down Davis-Monthan. And so I used to come up to Phoenix a lot. Dave, obviously Tucson and Phoenix are two different vibes, completely different vibes.
For sure. Yeah, 100%.
Tucson's more of that laid back, like old school town, while Phoenix is just a big old metropolitan town that's just growing all the time. And even their highways are bananas over there. But it's a different thing in that car market there. I could imagine in Phoenix is just bananas, just nonstop traffic. It's kind of like going from a culture shock, like where we're at now here in Kentucky. If just going up to Louisville, it's a slight difference for us, it's only 40 minutes away, but you go there and it's just so many people. The dealerships are packed all the time, but man, it also lets me know how weak those dealerships are up there because they let a lot of traffic just come in and out and they're missing a lot of opportunity, but we take advantage of it 40 minutes down south. A lot of it. Matter of fact, I'd say 60-70% of my business drives 40 minutes to an hour to come see us.
Or crosses the bridge from Indiana.
Or crosses the bridge from Indiana. But yeah, it's just about that kind of stuff, and it's about that energy, man. And so getting that business and that build up, man, I've looked at your LinkedIn profile, looked at all that, and I've seen the dealerships that you've been part of, and man, some really great spots. You're very loyal. I see that you don't just go somewhere and bounce. You go there and you do what you can to make it the best, and then you just go for a better opportunity. And that's all it's been. It's not I don't think this is right for me. You've done a great job with your career, man. You're right on the money. You're headed on a very, very high. Like I always try to put it like a rocket ship, like Elon Musk is trying to make right now, taking us to Mars, man. You're on your way to Mars right now, bro. You got it down, bro. And I love it. It's not just your business. You do it at home. You do it with your family. It looks like your wife's, is she pregnant right now?
Yep. Yeah, pregnancy's due May 11th. And this was just a blessing from God for us. We tried and tried and tried. And, we had some fertility issues. And so I've got a 12-year-old son. And so this will be my wife's first son or first child, who is a boy. So her first child in general. We went through 3 rounds of IVF, and it was just a lot of ups and downs, and, just the disappointments and the excitement. It was just hard. And, we finally got blessed. And so now we're getting ready for, sometimes you gotta be careful what you ask for. So we're getting ready for this. And, I think this 4x4x48 was helping me, get prepared for the sleep deprivation. So.
Oh yeah.
It sort of does. It's a different type of sleep deprivation, but you're no doubt about it, man. I'm excited for you. Congratulations to you and your wife. I know that's a lot of work, period. And to be able to see this happen, and you're like a couple months away. Oh my goodness, those nerves, everything's I'm sure that she's getting excited, but nervous, but ready to get that baby out of her. She's like, okay. I'm like, I'm ready. I need this foreign thing out of my body, but it's a beautiful thing. And I'm so excited for you two, man. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I'm to see you post about that in the future too. But the amazing thing about having all that is that we all come up in this business. We've seen people change. We've seen people grow. We've been all over the place. We have personal accomplishments that happen. You're getting ready to have your second child with your wife, her first child. How beautiful is that? That's how powerful the world is, and how powerful love is, and how powerful God is, right? So to be able to have all those things come to you, and you are just so blessed. And you know that. I'm sure you know your gratitude. You know what you have and how fortunate you are, but at the same time, you earned it all. And as you were coming up, I know you've talked about some people. There's some people in your life, in this business life, and I'm going to go business.
Yep.
In the car business, who's been your greatest mentor? Who's helped you come up? Who's shown you the light?
My greatest one. It's funny. I was talking to a college class last night, and I don't know if this was probably the greatest, but had probably the biggest impact was, I was 18 years old. I'd been in the business 90 days, and my closer at the time, David Chandler, I was struggling. I was about ready to get fired. I mean, I just wasn't selling any cars. I had some success in the very, very beginning, but then, the 90 days there, I just was struggling and couldn't figure out why I couldn't sell a car. I'm a smart guy. I thought I had it all figured out, which was probably my problem.
That's it.
But too smart for my own good. But he kind of put his arms around me, and he wrote me this handwritten letter that I kept for years. And I tried finding it a couple years ago, and throughout all my moves, it's just gone. But wrote me this handwritten letter and basically said, hey, you've got this, you can do it, slow down. And, it was a full page. It was just awesome. And that very next month, I sold 30 cars and, for all the gross. And it was just, that turning point for me. So, his impact was short lived on my life, but I think without that person willing to say, I see it in you, you can do it. I don't know if I would be here today. I don't know what I would be doing, honestly. You know, I dropped out of high school. I didn't go to college. You know, I grew up poor. So I don't know where I would be right now. So I really owe a lot to him, and we've stayed in contact over the years. We actually had dinner when I flew back to Portland a couple years ago. We had dinner, and he's a good dude. He's in the mortgage industry now, but I let him know that, hey, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wouldn't have been for that letter, if it wouldn't have been for you.
I'm glad you shared that with him too, like that, because I know that for him that means a lot. You know, we all try to plant seeds. We're all trying.
And
to.
One of those crazy is he didn't remember it. I told him, I said, do you remember this letter? He had I mean, that's just who he was, right? It wasn't a big deal to him. And
he's like,
He's like, what do you mean you don't remember? It means so much to me. Like, man, I don't know. I mean, I just wrote it one day.
He's like, really? I did? I go, yeah, you did. It meant the world to me. And I told him, I said, yeah, I owe everything I've got. I owe to you. You know, I probably would have quit or got fired, frankly. And, you know, I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Man, that is beautiful that you said that. And I think that's awesome, because a lot of us, we don't see that. A lot of times we're blinded. We're so focused and selfish that we think it's all us, right? Yeah. And you can literally break it down to that one moment when someone wrote you a handwritten letter that said, you got this. And it was personal. There's something about it.
And I tell my managers that we owe that to our staff. You know, even the ones that you think maybe, I don't know if they're going to make it. Well, we hired them, right? If it was a mistake, it's our mistake. So we owe it to them to put our arms. Almost everybody can remember some sort of mentor they had along the way, whether it was a big impact like mine, or just kind of helped you along for a couple of years, showed you the ropes. You know, we've all had that person or persons in our lives, and we owe that to every single one of our salespeople. To give them the opportunity to change a life. I mean, literally it changed my life, I mean, it, changed my son's, who wasn't even born yet, his life. And we owe that to our staff to put our arms around them and try and be mentors to them, and not just, he's not going to make it, get on out of here. And you know what, with the turnover we have in our business, most of them aren't going to make it. But if you can put your arms around somebody who reciprocates that, and we're pulling on that rope in that same direction, and we can change their life. I mean, gosh, what a blessing. And there's no better reward. The paychecks are awesome rewards, but there's no better reward than that.
Come on. Oh man,
dude,
you were just getting to the end of the
we're going to save that, because we're going to be asking you that question in later, but that is so true. You right on our frequency. Yes. You're right on the level where I love. I mean, that's the whole setup. These questions is to bring that out, and and obviously it's working. And man, what you just said there, leaving that, it's a legacy.
That's right.
You're leaving a legacy of growth. Your mentor, the person that you think of, oh man, thank you so much. What he did is going through. You're passing that to all your salespeople. He doesn't realize how much that touched. It didn't just touch you. It's touching everybody that you touch. That is what a legacy is. A legacy sometimes is a quiet legacy. Sometimes you don't have a name to that legacy, but something sparked was somewhere from somebody from a long time ago. You don't even know where it came from. People who've trained me, people who've trained you, Josh, and Lou, we all have people that they have those people. They have passed that down to them. Maybe they taught them the wrong way, but they were there to teach them, right? They were there to show them love and care on them, right?
Yeah.
Every year this business changes. Every moment this business changes. So, of course, the way we teach has to change. But the way the energy that we teach, the love that you give is never going to change. That's still there. It's just the content that might be different, right?
Yep.
And so, but his content for you was perfect. It was spot on, man. And I'm glad that he did that, because obviously we wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now having this conversation. Right. You wouldn't have been a managing partner at multiple dealerships. You wouldn't have been able to impact so many people's lives on how to become a six-figure earner, how to do all these things, and not to mention how to be closing big. Right.
Right. There we go.
I love those videos, man. And you crush it. That's actually the first time I ever saw you was on the closing big stuff. I was like, man, this guy's a man. He's the man.
Yeah.
He's doing it, and it's very impactful. It's exactly what the car business needs. The more that we have that out there, the better this business is going to become. So kudos to you for that also.
And that's, really why we ask the question that we ask on the who is your mentor, because there's a lot of us that don't realize what's been deposited in us and how to honor properly. Just like you're saying, we hired them. They are our mission.
It's our responsibility. I mean, even if it's a mistake, it's our mistake. We did that. And we do go through multiple interviews, and we have assessments we use. We try and minimize the mistakes, but you've hired that person. Don't just throw them out there and go, shoot, shouldn't have hired them. Hey,
right. You hired them because you can make something great out of them too. You have something to give them. Right. And so and I don't mean to cut you off on that, but I'm so excited that it was a seed that he didn't even know that he really sowed or recall it. So he didn't go watch it. He didn't go make sure that, hey, remember that note that I wrote you? Don't forget about it. Right. All he did was trigger something in you. He didn't make you successful. He dropped a seed to remind you that it's in you.
That's a good point.
You took it and you ran with it and you believe. Just because
and that's the thing is, you've got to do it, right? So I can pour into my people. Ultimately, it's up to them.
There is plenty more where that came from and so much more to come. Make sure that you go to carguycoffee.com and keep brewing solutions with us. We are so thankful for our partners and sponsors, VINCUE, Dealership Toolkit, M1 Data and Analytics, Don Brady Consulting, 321 Ignition, and VINCUE. Let's brew!